Welcome to this NBC5 News presentation of Decision 2022. I'm here with candidates for the District 3 State Senate seat that represents much of Jackson County. I'm joined by, on the far side, Democratic State Senator Jeff Golden and his Republican opponent, Medford Mayor Randy Sparacino. Gentlemen, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
So, quick recap of our rules for this forum. You each have 60 seconds to answer each question. You each have one 30-second rebuttal, so please do choose carefully when to use it. Closing statements are 60 seconds, and by random drawing. Senator Golden, you will answer our first question and go first with closing statements. Our first question, why should people voting in Oregon Senate District 3 vote for you over your opponent?
Craig, thanks for having us here. I'm not going to be able to do that in 60 seconds, but I would really like to see people visit goldenforsenate.org. We have a page on first-term accomplishments, second-term goals. I'm told that my first session was quite productive for Oregonians, and Southern Oregonians in particular. You know, it's easy to take a lot of credit for things other people did, but where I think I led was on campaign finance reform, getting that measure on the ballot, on getting law enforcement response to the criminal industry cannabis grows, which made this summer much less severe than last summer. We're not done. We made big progress because of the special session emergency provision I got. A number of things on wildfire, which I'm sure we'll talk about, which made this wildfire season much milder than the past. There are a number of different things. I think I've achieved a number of things, and I think I've done better than average in reaching across the aisle and trying to find legislation that both sides could support. Pretty tough thing to do these days.
Okay. Mayor Sparacino.
Thank you, and you can call me Randy, and thank you for having us here tonight. Well, I've spent my entire career being a collaborative leader. I like to listen to all sides of every argument and make the reasonable decision. And during my course as mayor, I've seen a lot of issues that have come out of Salem that are adversely impacting the city of Medford and causing some circumstances that make it a little bit more difficult for us to do our jobs as a community. So I would like people to support me for this particular position because I want to bring a voice to Southern Oregon back to Salem rather than having a lot of Portland-centric legislation that has been driven out of Salem over the last several years.
Okay. Our second question, Randy, to you. If elected, what would your top two priorities be in the first year?
For me, if I'm elected, the top two priorities would be to address Measure 110. Measure 110, as it rolled out, was a very complex issue. And locally, we've already had some significant programs to address some of the issues that were covered under Measure 110. We had conditional discharge, we had a drug court. I think we need to review Measure 110 and make sure that it's adequately doing what it was intended to do, which is to provide treatment to the addicted community. I've talked to several folks in the addiction recovery programs, and that needs to be addressed. Secondly, we need to address the homeless population. We need to look at the root causes. The city of Medford does an excellent job of addressing the homeless crisis in a balanced approach of enforcement and outreach. I'd like to see that carry forward throughout the state, but we have to look at the root causes, which are mental health and addiction. Those are two of the primary root causes for homelessness, and I'd like to see us address those problems.
Senator Golden, your two top priorities in your first year.
100% agreement with what the mayor just said. Homelessness is on everyone's mind. It's not a standalone issue. It's intertwined with a lot of things: mental health, substance abuse, inadequate access to education, including community colleges, that leads people to self-sufficiency. That is a cluster of issues, and we're in a deep hole there. This has developed over 30 or 40 years, and the ways out of this are not going to be inexpensive or easy, but we have to address them. Number two would be another cluster of issues around climate, water, wildfire, obviously, extreme heat, the smoke that blankets this valley. Those are all intertwined too. I believe the wildfire bill really addresses this, especially the parts that haven't gotten all the attention. And I'm going to continue working to see what Oregon can do on climate and reducing our reliance on fossil fuels, because I do feel like we are just abandoning the next generation if we're not serious about that.
You referenced it earlier, Senator Golden. Illegal marijuana grows have caused chaos in Southern Oregon for law enforcement and water consumption. What will you do if elected to cure these problems?
Well, what I already did was go into special session, convince the Speaker and the Senate President to allocate $25 million to law enforcement, $20 million to law enforcement, $5 million to water enforcement, so that we've moved from a year ago where we had no response to these international criminal grows that just devastated our valley to a place where we are not out of the woods, but it is a small fraction of what it was a year ago because we have a credible response, and I give Jackson County Sheriff's Department quite a bit of credit for that. So it's an integrated piece, but law enforcement and water enforcement for cannabis and other reasons, because there has been so much theft, is going to have to be our focus. We've also passed bills about water. I hope we have a chance to get into water, because right along with climate and water wildfire, that is an existential issue for the Rogue Valley.
Randy?
Yes. So during my time as chief, we implemented an illegal marijuana enforcement team. The senator alluded to it with Jackson County. It's actually a combined unit that has Medford Police Department and Jackson County, and they're doing a fantastic job addressing the issues. But during the course of several legislative sessions, a lot of the tools that law enforcement has had to address drug interdiction have been removed. I would like to review the laws that are adversely impacting law enforcement's ability to enforce drug interdiction, and that dovetails into the illegal marijuana and the cartel grows that we have locally. Additionally, as mayor, I've met with our federal representatives, and I would continue to do that to address the issues that we have on a federal level with regard to enforcement of illegal marijuana grows. There are some issues with our U.S. Attorney's Office and their ability to actually adjudicate these crimes that are happening on a federal level, and we need to address that as well so that we can completely cover the illegal marijuana grows.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. We'll have much more with our state Senate candidates in just a moment. Stay with us.